Hi, this is a video of a single burner forge that I made using 1/8 inch steel plates, insulated fire bricks, and K-Bond wet mortar refractory cement. I'll walk you through the bill of materials and build process and then show you a demonstration at the end of this video. This is the bill of materials for the project. I'm going to start with the steel plates. This is 1/8 inch by 8 by 10 inch. I bought it from a vendor known as Frmshopllc on eBay. Paid $4.30 each plus $7.99 shipping. I've bought stuff from them before and they're a very good, reliable vendor. The burner I bought off of Etsy from a vendor named ForgeBurners. Paid $15 plus $10 shipping. It's about 11 inches long, 3/4 inch pipe with a 3/4 to 1 inch converter on the bottom. It came with a .030 MIG tip. I replaced it with a .035 MIG tip. I thought it just needed a little bit more flow, but it works really well. I'm going to remove this lip and actually smooth it down so I can bring it up through the top plate and have it flush with my fire brick. So that'll be one step. Regulator I bought from Amazon from a vendor called GASPRO. Paid $27.99 plus free shipping. It's a 30 psi with a gauge and a steel braided hose, so I think it'll be very durable. I bought a 90-degree connector from a vendor on Amazon called Camco. Paid $11.76 plus free shipping. The angle iron I bought from Home Depot online and had it shipped to my house for free. At the time, I think it was about $13.50 or so for a 6-foot piece. I've got two of these. They're up to about $14.99 at this point, but even with that, that's a good price compared to if you go in the store, especially if you go to a store like Lowe's. This will be much more expensive. The fire bricks I'm using, I bought from IyaKnowsBest on Etsy. I've bought quite a bit of stuff from them. They've got really good stuff, and they are very reliable and very friendly vendor. This is 1 1/4 inch by 4.5 by 9 inch insulating fire brick. It's rated at 2,600 degrees, and it's very light and durable, and I think it's going to do a great job. I bought 12 of these and paid $92.63 plus free shipping. And then once I get it put together, I'm going to seal all the insulating fire bricks with this K-Bond wet mortar, which I also bought from IyaKnowsBest. I paid $37.70 for it, free shipping. This is rated at about 3,000 degrees, so I think it's going to provide a very durable surface that'll withstand a lot of heat. Overall, buying the piece parts here, I don't know what the total was. You can add them up for yourself, but it's probably more than I could buy a single burner forge. I currently have a Hell's Forge single burner forge, and I think I paid about $229 for it. I don't know what this total comes up to, but it's probably close to that or a little more. So you could buy your own forge maybe at a lower price, but I specifically wanted to design this one myself to my specifications, and I wanted it to really use I think a more durable product than the wool coated with the refractory cement. I think it'll just be more durable, last longer, less likely to crack, and so on. So the first step will be to weld up the steel plates to form the box, and we'll get to that shortly. Okay, now I've got the box set up and ready to weld. Got it squared, got it clamped into my welding table there to try to keep anything from warping. As with any thin plate steel, there is a little bit of warp in it here and there, but it's not anything to be concerned about. So let's get the welding gear on, and we'll tack this up and then turn it over and put on the braces on the corners. Okay, so I got those corners tacked up. I've turned the box over and put the angle iron on the corners, and now I will weld that up. Well, you can see my welding skills leave a lot to be desired, but I'll get out the angle grinder and clean these up a little, and they'll be acceptable for this project. So I hit it with the angle grinder and cleaned up some of the worst part of the welds. As I said, this is not a project that requires expert welding, of which I am not, but it's solid, and the next step will be to move on to cutting the insulating fire bricks for the sides and the bottom. So I'm set up here with my table saw, and I've just got an old carbide tip blade that I'm going to use to try to cut the insulated fire bricks. I think it should work fine, but we'll give it a try and see how it works. So as you can see, that cut it very easily, very smoothly. So I think it's going to work just fine. I'll cut the rest and we'll start adding them to the sides and bottom of the forge. I've got all the bricks cut now and placed into the forge. As you can see, I used a full width brick in the center, and then cut the two outer bricks down the sides on each side and on the bottom. And I'm going to use some K-Bond Wet Mortar refractory cement that I mentioned in the bill of materials section to actually act as a mortar joint between the fire bricks. As you can notice, I'm not being too careful, because when we get these all in place and the forge is fully built, I'm going to coat the entire inside with the K-Bond refractory cement, so it doesn't really matter if I get some on the edges or not. Okay, so there you go. I've got the bottom and the side insulating fire bricks in place. I'm going to let those dry for probably 48 to 72 hours. At this point, I'll clamp them together to make sure they've got a tight bond. And then we'll come back and we'll coat the entire inside surface with the K-Bond Wet Mortar refractory cement. While that's drying, I'll start on the top plate, which will involve drilling the hole for the forge burner and then welding it in place. Now I'm set up to drill the hole in the top plate for the burner. I'm going to offset it about a ½ inch towards the back. That's the way I see most single burner forges work. They offset them just a hair to keep the heat concentrated more in the back of the forge, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drill this hole out to just under 1 3/8, and then I will cut the top of the 3/4 inch to 1 inch adapter on the burner. I will cut this lip off down to 1 3/4. That's right under 1 3/8. That's the diameter right here, and that way it'll allow me to bring this up through the top plate, and then I can weld it in place. Okay, as you can see, that was a little more difficult than I anticipated. I had a couple of places on my bit that didn't appear to be very sharp. Unfortunately, that's a brand new bit, so I'm a little disappointed in that. But with a little patience and some extra cutting oil, I managed to get through. The next step will be to take this flange off of this 3/4 to 1 inch coupling that goes on the bottom of the forge burner, so I can actually bring the bottom of the burner up through the top of the forge, and then what I want it to be is, pretty much flush with the fire brick that's inside, the insulated fire brick, and that way it won't be sticking out. So that'll be the next step, and I will get back to you as soon as that's done. Okay, I got the lip of the coupler cut down so it'll fit through the hole in the top plate. I'll smooth these off just a little bit, and then we will weld it to the top plate. Okay, so we got the ForgeBurner welded into the top plate. Again, don't look too closely at the welding. I'm not a welder of any means, but I can at least stick stuff together. So the next step is that I will cut one of the bricks, cut a hole in it that will go around the outlet for the burner. You can see the lines I've drawn here. They're offset again, about a 1/2 inch back. So I will cut a full, I think it's 1 3/4 inch hole in one of these bricks, and then it should fit right up snugly against the outlet of the burner. So that's our next step. Nice clean hole. Okay, here we have the insulated fire brick with the hole that I just drilled, and you can see it fits snugly around the outlet for the ForgeBurner. Nice flush fit, so that'll give me a little extra room in the forge. And the next step will be to cut the top fire bricks down to size, and then once the bottom and side fire bricks dried and I get the inside coated with the K-Bond wet cement, refractory cement, let it dry, then we will assemble it and put on the top plate. And then the only thing after that will be to put on the back sliding rails so I can close off the back of the forge. Okay, I've let the K-Bond wet mortar between the bricks dry, and now I'm going to apply the first coat of the wet mortar. I'm just going to be using an old paintbrush. I found that this typically gives me the best results as opposed to trying to use, you know, some sort of paint stir or something like that to put it on. So we'll just put it on. I'm going to leave the tops uncovered because I want to actually set the top cover in and put a bond in between those. So let's get it coated. Okay, we have our first coat applied to our insulated fire bricks. As you can see, it goes on nice and smooth. One thing I like about this is as it starts to dry, you can take a wet paintbrush and smooth out any small imperfections and get a really nice finish, especially on these fire bricks. It's very easy to apply and makes a good surface. I'm going to wait for this to dry a couple of days. This is an air dry refractory cement, so you don't heat it or do anything like that. And then I'll come back and put another coat on, may even put a third coat on, I don't know yet. I store this by making sure that the lid is on very tight and then putting it into a Ziploc bag and trying to squeeze out as much of the air as I possibly can. And I've had this for, or another container of this for more than 6 months, and every time I open it up, it's just like the day I bought it. So it has a great shelf life. So anyway, we'll get back to the second coat. Now I'm going to weld up the top and bottom rails that will hold the bricks at the back of the forge so they can slide in and out and close off the forge as necessary. So these are the top and bottom rails for the sliders on the back of the forge to open and close it. Got them welded up and ready to go. So the next step will be to get the K-Bond wet mortar dry and then put the top plate on. and get it welded up, and then we can add these rails. I've got the top section of the firebricks, insulated firebricks, put together now and coated with the K-Bond wet cement. And the next step will be to put them on top of the forge and then weld the top plate on. So I'll get back to you as soon as that's done. So this is the finished product. Got the top plate welded on. You can see the coated insulated firebricks that I've got inside. I put some feet on it that I had out of, I think that's about 1¼ inch by 1/8 flat iron. Got the back rails put on so I can have firebricks that slide back and forth to close off the forge. So let's fire it up and see how it works. So I think you can see that it seems to work pretty well. I'm pretty pleased with the results. Seems to get up to temperature very quickly and maintains a good heat. So overall, I think I'm happy with the results. So what are my thoughts and learnings from this project? Well, the Morgan thermal ceramic insulating firebricks work really well. I really like this product. Has very good insulating properties, and it performs very well. They are on the fragile side, so you have to be careful with them. But, you know, as I mentioned, you can coat these with the Wet Mortar and give them extra strength. What I do also like about them is that they cut very easily. So if you're making your own custom forge and you need different shapes or sizes or whatever, as you saw in the video, these things cut very easily and very smoothly. And then you can bond them back together. The K-Bond Wet Mortar refractory cement is also a very good insulator. It's a very good bonding material also. I'm probably going to make another short video showing how you can actually bond these insulated firebricks together using the K-Bond Wet Mortar, and it's very strong when you do that. It goes on well, but applying it is an art. Just like any cement, when you apply it, if you put it on too thick, as it dries, it will crack. So what I've found is the best way to do it is to apply multiple thin coats, maybe even slightly diluted, or at least take a wet paintbrush and smooth it out as you're going, and then let that dry thoroughly, apply another coat. And it doesn't have to be thick. It has very good insulating properties, even when it's applied thinly. And with that, a little goes a long way. So you can use this stuff sparingly, and you don't have to buy as much of it as you think you might have to. The ForgeBurner that I bought works very well. I've looked at others ranging from $50 to $75 to $100. I paid $25 total for this one, and I think it's a great value for the money if you need a ForgeBurner. It works really well, good flame, doesn't sputter out, so very happy with that also. As you can see, my welding skills suck, but I am getting better towards the end. I was actually a little more patient and used some of the techniques I've learned in terms of pooling and that kind of stuff. So practice makes perfect, as they say, and I'll keep working on it. Would I do this project again? Probably not. It was a one-time deal that I wanted to do just for fun and try out, you know, these insulating firebricks for durability and performance. But I am happy with the project, and I think it will be durable and last a long time. I've never had much luck with my other forge that has a fabric insulating liner, and I try to apply cement to it, and it continually wants to crack or flake. So I'm happy with the design I made, and I think it's going to work very well and last a long time. But with that said, you probably could buy a good single burner forge for the same money or less than I spent on this project. So, you know, if you want one with insulating fire bricks, I'm sure you can find them out there. They may be a little more expensive. If you want to build your own, then you could maybe use this as a model. I also mentioned, which I will do, is I'll put the bill of materials in the comments below, and if you have any comments, feel free to leave them, and I'll try to respond to you.